We'll start with Paul.
Coach, looking at the film from the other night and just previous games and where the team hasn't played as well as they did back in early January, what stands out to you that's maybe different with your team other than probably confidence, and especially on the offensive end?
Yeah, we go through spurts offensively in games that puts us behind the eight ball. You never know when they're going to come, obviously. If we did, we'd do everything we could to avoid it. But we get out of sorts, and it's not one person. Like I said after the game, I felt like we were not balanced offensively, even in the first half when the game was, close. And then, unfortunately, this team, when things aren't going well offensively, it affects other areas of our game. And every coach talks about having teams that understand that your mood, your personality, your effort can't change regardless of what's going on the offensive end. And it's a great theory. And certainly I've had teams that are better than others at it. But I think individually, which leads collectively to us having some of that in us, and it can't. In a league like the SEC, particularly this year, you're going to have stretches where, you have some costly turnovers, some poor shooting, some frustration, and you've got to sprint back and build your defense and rely on that. And we've had times where that wasn't the case, and it's proved costly for us. I mean, the start of the second half, looking back on video, like our get-back defense, I mean, I think 13 maybe, 12 or 13 of the points in that run were because of going from offense to defense and not setting our defense, and some people having some breakdowns in their responsibilities of doing that. And then we turned it over, I think, 6 of our first 9 possessions offensively. And, when you're turning it over on the offense, that leads to, runouts by the other team. And then combined with what I just said about just our get back in general, that particular game got away from us. But big picture, people talk about our defensive numbers aren't as good, and they're not. But sometimes there's a lot that goes into that. Sometimes your offense, directly leads to poor defensive possessions as well.
Go to Sam in the middle, then we'll go to the end and Jacob.
Yeah, in terms of just getting more out of the offense, how much of that focus is also about just finding more from those secondary scorers that maybe you had kind of consistently at the beginning of the season and it's kind of faded away a little bit now?
Listen, I love this team. I love the guys on this team. I believe in these kids. And it's no secret, if you're following us closely, we have, as a team, and certainly some individuals, not shooting the ball as well as they're capable or as well as they have, in prior stretches of the season. And when you make a concerted effort to alter and tweak your roster to make it better offensively, to be able to score the ball better, you have to give up something usually. And we've given up a little bit of our girth and our size to be able to score it better. Well, when that scoring's not happening, it compounds because we're not as good defensively as maybe we've been in years past. So we can't rely on, turning defense into offense like we've done in the past as much. Certainly we're trying, and that's the goal. But, at the end of the day, we've got to figure out a way to score at the rim. That was an issue against Florida, and they have great size, but in that particular game, I didn't think it was altered because of their size. We just, tricked off some contested shots at the rim, and it gets in your head a little bit. I mean, I can see it in their body language. And then, we had some looks that just didn't go down for us, and it became frustrating for everybody in the building. Certainly our fan base can see it. Our players, can see it. And, our job is to instill confidence in them and to, have short memories and help them to try to get even better looks on every possession that we have.
Ole Miss has some talented guards like Padula and Murray, but how important is it to kind of contain Brakefield, and how tough of a matchup is he?
Yeah, that's what makes, one of the things that makes Ole Miss so good is their balance. You bring up Padua and Murray, and certainly they deserve, a ton because of their ability, on both ends of the floor. They're tough-minded guards. They can score the ball in different ways. They're starting together now, and they're playing off one another. But, I think it'd be a big mistake to just focus on those two guys because of the balance that they've created with their team, and they've got plenty of guys that are capable, and certainly Brakefield's one of them. He's playing at a high level. He's playing how you'd expect a guy with that much talent and that much experience and that much pride to play for his team, and he's having a really good season, especially lately.
Go behind Jacob to the second row, and Danny P., go ahead.
Been a few weeks since we've seen Ole Miss, but lately they've been involved in some real close competitive games when they come from behind wins. Just what have you seen from them lately that's helped them get those results?
Yeah, I think every coach/program takes pride in winning close games. When you're preparing for your league as a coach, you constantly are talking to your team about how many close games we're probably going to have coming up, and what we need to do to make sure that we make great decisions and, keep playing, and, there's more time than you think, and execute when, there's only so many possessions left and you don't have time to make up for it. And they've obviously done an excellent job at doing those type of things, being able to win, games that come down to the last possession or two. And I think that probably gives them great confidence, with being in those situations because of the outcomes that have been for them, this season.
We'll go back to coaches left with Paul and Benjamin.
Coach, obviously, one of the big question marks going into the season was putting KeShawn at the 5, and obviously he's handled himself well and rebounded well and becoming a pretty consistent scoring option. I know you've talked all the time about the confidence you had in KeShawn, and you saw it this summer, but has he kind of surprised you with how well he has adapted to the 5, even though he's not your old school type center that you had with Tolu, but just how productive he's been in his first year playing there?
It hasn't, to be frank with you. I could see the talent, obviously, because of the access I have to him, since I've been here. And I know people are tired of hearing about it, but, the injuries prevented him from playing the minutes, that he needed to get his talent on the floor. And he just had some really tough breaks that way. But, knock on wood, he's been injury-free, and he's getting comfortable with being a big minute guy. We've talked about, he's a redshirt junior, but he might as well be a freshman in terms of experience, or at least a younger sophomore. But it doesn't surprise me. He's very, very skilled. He's invested. The whole program knows how much he's invested, how much he cares, how productive he was heading into the season. And the way we play lends itself to him to being able to play the 5 for us with, a lot of trapping when the ball goes inside, so he doesn't have to fight some bigger dudes, one-on-one defensively in the post. And then him having some advantages offensively against some of their big guys with his ability to get into that mid-range and bring those bigs away from the basket and not just try to, back those guys down and make it easier for the bigs to guard him. So, his touch, from 6 to 16 feet is, kind of old school, that way. But happy for him, and certainly it's about winning, and he's about winning, and but at the same time, he's become a reliable guy for us this season.
Coach, obviously no secrets between you and Ole Miss at this point, but do you feel like they've changed much at all since you saw them last? Are they going to be throwing some different things at you, or is it pretty much the same team you saw before?
I mean, their structure is the same. The way they play, in terms of their sets, everybody tweaks and adds as the season progresses. But their foundation of motion and man-to-man defense and toughness and togetherness, is evident on the film. They're better than they were the last time that we played against them. I think they've got a confident group. They've altered their starting lineup with placing Murray in there rather than have him coming off the bench. I think that's probably helped them as well, at least from outside looking in. So, we know we're going to go into a ruckus environment, and I'm excited for that opportunity. I'm excited for our team to be able to play in this game that way. We've had a lot of road success. We've had a lot of success away from home this year, probably more than we've had at home, if you want to really drill down into it, which we don't like the fact that our home record in the league is not better than it is. But, it should give us great confidence in preparing to go on an SEC road game because of the success that we've had on the road this year.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go back to Jacob on the end of Coach's right.
Coach, you kind of touched on it. You've been in some tough environments this year, but obviously it's a little different going and face your rival at their home court. What's your message to your team going to be, especially coming off a tough loss?
Yeah, it's a good question. We've got a few hours before I got to figure out exactly, how we'll start the process here this afternoon of preparing for this game. And, we understand the rivalry part, and it's important to us. But at the same time, we got 7 games left. We're 17-7. I don't take the time to dig this stuff up, but many people on my staff maybe have too much time on their hands. But apparently we're 17-3 against teams that aren't in the top 6 in the net. So if you look at that, I would imagine most, not all, but most college teams across the country would love to have that record. We got 11 top 100 KenPom wins, which, again, I don't know where that ranks. I have no idea. But I would imagine it's up there. So, we're disappointed in not having a better record against the top 6 in the net. Every game's a Super Bowl for us. I've been saying that since I've arrived. The way we prepare, the way we, go about getting ready for these games. They don't always go our way. Certainly would have loved to have had a couple of those bigger home games with wins on our resume rather than losses. We're disappointed. It tears me up inside that that's the case. But at the same time, we've got lots of opportunities left. We got at least 8, and they're all going to be, high-level challenges and high-level opportunities, and we put ourselves in position, to control our own destiny, and that's what you want. Every goal that we have for this particular team, and the goals are higher than they've ever been since I've arrived, are all still attainable. But at the end of the day, we've got to win games. We've got to win games, and we've got plenty of them left to win, and it starts Saturday.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
See you Saturday.